Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Sadashiva-Samarambham Shankaracharya-Madhyamam Asmadacharya-Paryantam Vande Guru-Paramparam Shruti-Smriti-Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat-Padam Shankaram Loka-Shankaram Shankarupena Machittam Pankikritamabhudhyaya Kinkarigasya Samaya Shankaracharya-Mashrage Prahlada-Varado Devo Yo Nrsimhah Paro Harihi Nrsimhopasakam Nityam Tam Nrsimhagurum Bhaje Sri Satchidananda Shivabhinavya Nrsimha Bharatyabhidanyatindran Vidyanidhin Mantranidhin Sadatmanishtan Bhaje Manava Shambhurupan Sadatmadhyana Niratam Vishayebhyav Parang Mukham नौमि शास्त्रेषु निष्णातं चन्द्रशेखरभारतीं विवेकिनं महाप्रज्ञं धैर्यौदार्यक्षमानिधिं सदाभिनवपूर्वन्तं विद्यातीर्थगुरुं भजे अज्ञानां जाह्नवीतीर्थं विद्यातीर्थं विवेकिनां सर्वेषां सुखदं तीर्थं भारतीतीर्थमाश्रये विद्याविनयसम्पन्नं वीतरागं विवेकिनं वन्दे वेदान्ततत्त्वज्ञं विदुशेखरभारतीम् ॐ In the last session, we talked about the various names of Adi Shankaracharya that spoke about his extraordinary life, of the various miraculous things that he did, and how he was verily an avatara of Ishvara. Today, we will continue looking at some other names of Acharya, which predominantly deal with how he was a guru, a well wisher for all his Shishyas, and how he was a Jagat Guru. One of the first names that we look at is Sansararnava Tarakaya Namaha. Here we are praying to Adi Shankaracharya and saluting him and saying that he is someone who helps his disciples cross over the great ocean of samsara, which is the beginningless cycle of births. And the only way to cross that ocean of samsara is through jnana, the jnana of the identity of the self with Brahman, which can only be taught by a guru using the words of the Upanishads. Another name is Lakshya Bheda Pradarshakaya Namaha. I salute Adi Shankaracharya who reveals the means to attain the target. Lakshya Bheda refers to the piercing of the target. This nama reminds of the Mundaka mantra Pranavo Dhanuhu Sharohyatma Brahma Tarlakshya Muchyate Apramattena Vedhavyam Sharavat Tanmayo Bhavet. Omkara or the Pranava is the bow, the individual conditioned self is the arrow, and the target is Brahman, the unconditioned, limitless self. And by focusing the individual self using the means of Omkara, one attains Brahman as it were. Attainment here is a figurative usage. Apramattena vedhavyam. One must unerringly, with great focus and care, pierce that target. And once having pierced that target, one should be tanmayo bhavet. One should abide in that self. And therefore, what this name of Adi Shankaracharya is revealing is that Adi Shankara, by expounding on the Upanishads, on the Brahma Sutra, and the Bhagavad Gita, has shown his Shishyas the means to pierce the target that has been set in the Upanishads. He has provided the means with which one can reach the true self, and therefore that is the meaning of the name Lakshya Bheda Pradarshakaya Namaha. The next name is Prasanna Vadanam Bhojaya Namaha. Here we are saying that Adi Shankara Bhagavad Pada has a face that was bright and pleasant. He had a very pleasant demeanor like a lotus. The nature of the Guru has been defined as Adhigata Tattvaha Shishyahitayodhyatah Satatam. That is, he is one who has realized the truth himself and is constantly striving for the well being of his disciples. Acharya was the ideal Guru and he constantly was thinking of the welfare of his disciples and therefore he was always favorably disposed to all his disciples. Naturally, as a result of that, he had a very pleasant demeanor towards them, which has been described in this name. Another name of Acharya in the Ashtotra Shatanamavali is Vishwabandhave Namaha. I offer obeisance to Sri Shankaracharya, who is a well-wisher, a bandhu, a relative of everyone. He has everyone's best interests at heart. And that is another name, Shubhodayaya Namaha. He is like the dawn of auspiciousness for his devotees. Sarvaloka Hitotsukaya Namaha. He is ever keen on the well-being of all devotees. He is also referred to as Kshemadayane Namaha, who confers welfare upon his devotees. And he teaches the importance of forgiveness. And one of the names, therefore, is Kshamakara Namaha. I offer my obeisance to Sri Shankaracharya, who out of boundless love is ever ready to forgive the errors or transgressions of his disciples. All these present a picture of the ideal guru who is not only interested in the liberation of his disciples, but in his own life provides an example for all his shishyas to follow. So, for example, in continuing with some of the names that we looked at before, one of the names of Acharya is Nissangaya Namaha. The Atma has been defined in the Upanishads as Asango hi ayam Purushaha. That is, this Purusha, this self, is completely devoid of any sort of relations. And the reason for that is because the Atma is the only reality. Anything which is not the Atma is mithya or unreal. If you want to have a real relationship, it is only possible if there are two real entities. However, in Advaita, there is only one real entity, and therefore, a real relationship is not possible at all. The self is not related to anything at all. The other name is Niratankaya Namaha, he who is free from fear. And the reason why Acharya is free from fear is again because wherever there is duality, there is fear. Dvitiyad vai bhayam bhavati, says the Upanishad. When there is another, one fears it. If all there is the self, there is nothing to fear from. And therefore, in living his life in accordance with the jnana that he had, he lived a life of absolute detachment, a Nisanga life. He lived a life of absolute freedom from fear. So he was Niratanka as well. And therefore, in living the life in that manner, he sets an example for all his disciples to follow. There were four main disciples of Adi Shankaracharya, and they are the subject matter of the next few names. Totakacharya Sampujaya Namaha. I worship Sri Shankaracharya, who was in turn worshipped by Totakacharya. We looked at the story of Totakacharya and how Giri achieved greatness by the mere sankalpa of Acharya, and this name refers to that. Another one of Acharya's very famous disciples, one of his foremost disciples, in fact, was Padmapada, and he is being referred to in the next name, Padmapadar Chitangritaya Namaha. He whose feet were worshipped by Padmapada. One of the first few disciples who joined Acharya was a very intelligent brahmachari called Sanandana. And Sanandana was initiated into sannyasa by Acharya. Sanandana's scholarliness, his austerity, his intelligence endeared him to Shankaracharya, but it led to some form of envy in others. The other disciples were slightly envious of Sanandana. Shankaracharya wanted to highlight how Sanandana was not only a scholar, not only a great philosopher, he also had great Guru Bhakti. And therefore, one day he enacted a drama to show the great bhakti of Sanandana. Sanandana was on one of the banks of the Ganges, and Acharya was on the opposite bank. Acharya, he called Sanandana to come to this side of the Ganges immediately. Sanandana, upon hearing his master's orders, did not even hesitate, and forgetting that there was a river between them, he immediately stepped into the Ganges and started walking across it. Wherever he placed his foot, a lotus immediately spontaneously emerged, supported him. And so he was able to walk on this bed of lotuses from one bank of the Ganges to the other bank of the Ganges. Everybody was astonished. Shankaracharya demonstrated with this incident how Sanandana was a great Guru Bhakta as well, in addition to being a phenomenal scholar and philosopher. As a result of this incident, he was called Padmapada, or the lotus footed one. Another story about Padmapada Acharya was that he was instructed by Acharya to write a commentary on the Brahmasutra Bhashyam that was authored by Shankaracharya. Now, Padmapada Acharya had written the Vyakhya, or the commentary of the entire Bhashyam, and he had gone on a long pilgrimage to the south. When doing so, he had left the manuscripts of the Vyakhya with his uncle. This was at Srirangam. He then proceeded to Rameshwaram. Upon his return from Rameshwaram, his uncle told him that the manuscripts were lost in a fire. Padmapadacharya was shocked and downhearted. He went to his Acharya, who was in Kerala at that time, and told him about what had happened. Acharya comforted his disciple and said that karma cannot be overcome, everyone will have to face its effects. However, he had said that Padmapadacharya had read the commentary to the first five sutras to Acharya previously, and Acharya, being a jnani, had remembered it even when he had merely heard it only once. So he dictated the five chapters back to Padmapada, who wrote this down into the work that is now known as the Panchapadika. So one of the sub commentaries on the Brahma Sutra Bhashyam of Adi Shankara Bhagavad Pada is the Panchapadika. Anyway, moving on, another one of Acharya's disciples was Hastamalaka. Hastamalaka was a very famous Brahmagyani who, even when he had met Acharya, was a jnani from the results of his previous births. So, for example, one of the names of Adi Shankara Bhagavad Pada is Hastamalaka Yogindra Brahmagyana Pradayagaya Namaha. I offer obeisance to Sri Shankaracharya, who bestowed the emancipatory knowledge of Brahman to great yogis such as Hastamalaka. The story of Hastamalaka is an interesting one. Once, Acharya Shankara Bhagavad Pada, when he was in his travels, a Brahmin by the name of Prabhakara approached Acharya with his young son. Now, Prabhakara prostrated before Acharya and mentioned how his 7-year-old boy was behaving as though he was lost to the world, as if his mind was not developed, as if he hadn't attained maturity. He did not play with any of his friends. He did not study anything. He hadn't even learned the alphabets. His entire life had gone in vain, he said. And Adi Shankaracharya took one look at the boy and asked him, "Who are you? And why are you behaving as if you are an inert being?" The boy replied in 12 verses, which essentially revealed who he really was. And these verses reveal that he was a great Brahmagyani who had an experience of Brahman. This set of 12 verses is called the Hastamalakiyam, and the reason why it is called that is because the truth of the self was as natural to him, was as within his grasp as an amla fruit, a gooseberry in his hand. And therefore, Shankaracharya bestowed upon him the name Hastamalaka, and he became the third important disciple of Adi Shankaracharya. One of the shlokas in the Hastamalakiyam is Nimittam Manashchakshuradi Pravrittau Nirastha Kilopadhirakasha Kalpaha Ravirloka Cheshta Nimittam Yathayaha Sa Nityopalabdhis Swarupohamatma. This reminds one of the incident of Adi Shankaracharya meeting his guru and speaking the Dashashloki. This is similar to that. Essentially, this is quite similar to the Kenopanishad mantra, Keneshitam Patati Manaha. What Tamalaka said in response to the question, who are you? He said, I am that which is of the nature of Nityopalabdhi. I am the ever self evident one. I am that self. And it is that self which is responsible for the action of all the other sense organs, whether they are the eyes, etc., or the mind. All of these function because of the presence of me, the self, whose nature is of self illumination and ever present. Just like the sun is responsible for the movement of all living beings, just like everything in this world depends on the sun for its activity, all the sense organs and mind depend on the self evident Atma, and that is what I am. I am similar to the all pervading space, which is unconditioned by any upadhis or conditioning factors. This was what that 7-year-old boy had said in front of Shankaracharya, and as a result, it is not a surprise that Shankaracharya had said that he had the direct experience of the self, and the reason why he was behaving like an inert being was because he was constantly abiding in that self. He was not interested in all these daily activities that other people were performing because he was living an exalted life, and that is why he was acting like an inert person. However, mentally, he was occupying a much superior position compared to anyone else. One of the other disciples, the foremost disciples of Shankaracharya, was Sureshwaracharya, and his name is the next one that we'll look at. Sureshwarakhya Satchishya Sanyasashrama Dayakaya Namaha. I offer my obeisance to Sri Shankaracharya, who ordained great disciples such as Sureshwaracharya and others into sannyasa ashrama. Sureshwaracharya was essentially the sannyasa name of Mandana Mishra. We had looked at the story of Mandana Mishra in the previous talk. So Mandana Mishra, after being defeated by Shankaracharya in the debate, became a follower of Shankaracharya, and Adi Shankaracharya initiated him into sannyasa ashrama and gave him the name Sureshwaracharya. Sureshwaracharya wrote Vartikas, or commentaries in verse form, to Acharya's Taittiriya Upanishad and Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, and therefore one of the names of Sureshwaracharya is Vartikakara. And apart from the Vartika, he also wrote the Naishkarmya Siddhi, which is an independent Prakarana Grantha, again, which establishes his complete mastery over Advaita Vedanta. Sureshwaracharya became the first Acharya of the Sringeri Sharada Peetham. Thus, Adi Shankaracharya meets all the ideal characteristics of a Jagat Guru, and therefore it is not surprising that he is then referred to as the Jagat Guru. Jagat Gurave Namaha. He is the Guru of the entire world. On this auspicious occasion of Shankara Jayanti, let us all together worship Adi Shankara Bhagavad Pada, convey our respect and gratitude to him. But for Adi Shankaracharya, the very existence of Sanatana Dharma in India would have been called into question. That Acharya achieved all this at a mere 32 years of age is testament to the fact that he was none other than an avatara of Lord Shiva himself. With that, we will call an end to these talks. It has been a great pleasure for me to share with you my understanding of some of the names in the Adi Shankara Ashtotra Shatanamavali. I hope it has been useful for you all as well. पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति।